angel coming for to sing his song. I can hear the drummer drumming. He's coming and it won't be long. Hear the cry across the nations. People wanna be free, yeah. Free to leave the great plantations. Free to be who they want to be. I see it squeeze out freedom and it won't be long.
Good morning, everybody. It's Everett with Ohio for Freedom, and you have tuned into the Ohio for Freedom podcast. It is the 21st of July in the year of our Lord 2021, and coming to you live from Blackwall Studios here on the north side of Cincinnati, Butler County, actually. And man, oh man, is this an historic time? It is historic in that the incident that took place, of course, you've already heard about it, the big back and forth with Rand Paul and with Tony Fauci, but we're going to look at an angle that you may or may not be aware of that relates to this. And so this is extremely exciting. You will remember that it was July 1st that we did an episode on basically where's Tony when he no-showed Jim Jordan in Congress. And the metaphor that I probably overused is that he was hiding out in the bat cave peeing his pants. And so I apologize for that quite vulgar metaphor. However, I believe if it was accurate, then good morning, Tracy, and good to see you out there. And so here's what I'm going to say about this program. I'm going to actually reference several clips. Now, I'm going to assume that most of us saw that interchange. I as soon as I saw that Fauci was going to be testifying, I'm like glued to it and recorded the 6 minutes or so with Rand Paul and him in real time. But I want to put something together. So let me just say hi to Rhonda, and I'm just going to keep rolling here. So the first thing that I want to do is just set the stage, and I want you to watch Lord. What is that story? I actually never read it, but wasn't there a children's story? Little Lord Fauntleroy, and I really was tempted to put a title together called Little Lord Fauci Roy and come up with the kind of wig that. Anyway, we won't do that. So I want to play this clip, and then we will get rolling here. And
I have to. Well, now you're getting into something. If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2. That's where you are getting. You are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individual. I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
Boy,
Senator Smith.
Boy, he doesn't sound offensive, does he? Maybe I still got that. So
Thank you.
I'm not going to need that one again. So he sounds a little defensive, doesn't he, there? If anyone is lying, Senator, it's you. Well, actually, Tony Fauci has lied. Tony Fauci has lied to Congress. And to just summarize Rand Paul's basic take on that, I'll just say that Rand Paul was not saying that definitely what Fauci funded was definitely the cause of the SARS-CoV-2, but he was nailing him to the wall that Fauci funded it when he had previously lied and said he was not funding gain of function. And that, so the two things, number one, he's definitely he definitely funded it through NIH. And number two, he definitely lied about it to Congress. I want to play this other clip, and then I'm going to because I'm going to show you something that I think you may not be familiar with.
Once the public realizes that the NIH under his leadership funded the Wuhan lab, that is beyond question they did. The NIH funded the lab. But once the public figures out that they were doing very, very dangerous research there, gain-of-function research, taking animal viruses and making them more transmissible into humans, once everybody puts this together, he realizes where the blame's going to attach. He has at least tangential responsibility. If this came from the lab that he was funding, my goodness, can you imagine the moral culpability that the man has? But you also have to place this in context. Since 2012, he has said repeatedly that, yes, an accident can happen, but the research is worth it. Even if an accident were to cause a worldwide pandemic, the research is worth it. That judgment call is something that most Americans or people who have family members of the 4 million people who died would say, you know what, maybe that research isn't working if this contagion actually came out of a lab where they're doing this research. They also do this research in the United States. They do it in Galveston and in North Carolina. So this is a big debate, not just over blame, but over whether or not this could happen again in the United States. I think the reasoning behind
Okay, that was a lengthier clip, but I wanted to let it play till the end because Rand Paul is accurately stating that this type of research happens in Galveston and other places. And so, folks, I think I forgot to tell my phone to be quiet here. Here's just a point that I want to make here. And then I want to get to not exactly a smoking gun, but probably something that most of you guys are not familiar with. You might be. Okay. I never have an exclusive on anything, but here's my point. The lies and the propaganda and the narrative, we got to face it. They're pretty good at what they do. So whether we've seen through it or not, we have been affected by it. And so I think for a lot of us, our understanding or our confidence and our resolve of what we understand, it has developed, it has evolved. But here's my point. It would be a mistake to have the concept that the gain of function, which is taking a naturally occurring virus and goofing with it until you can make it more transmissible and more dangerous to humans, if it is a complete mistake to think that that happened in Wuhan exclusively. No way. Ralph, I could pull so many clips. There's only so much to squeeze into a program. Ralph Barrick has been doing that. He's never gone to China to do it. He's been doing it at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, since at least 1999 and beyond. Rand Paul just mentioned some other places. And so, folks, the thing that's hard for us to accept is American tax dollars have paid for a lot of this experimentation. And a lot of this experimentation has been exported to Wuhan, other places. But folks, this is, and I'm going to show you some stuff here in a minute to show you just how loosely managed all of this is. But I want to just take a moment, acknowledge a few comments, and then I want to show you something that you may not be aware of. But I want to say hi to Pierre, Michelle, hey, Joseph. And there was a comment, somebody said that President Trump, they heard he's running for Speaker of the House. He has definitely stated that he is not. And you don't have time to run for Speaker of the House when you're president. And that is what's going to be apparent here very, very shortly. So, yeah, Rand Paul was very aggressive yesterday. Did he get the memo? What am I talking about? So today's the 21st. Yesterday was the 20th, the confrontation between Rand Paul and Lord Fauci. Senator, you're lying. Okay. But on the 19th of July, Dr. David Martin, I've talked about Dr. Martin a lot. I've emailed many of you the Fauci dossier. The Fauci dossier that he put together that outlines the case against, the criminal case, by the way, against Tony Fauci. It's got all kind of references and a perfectly succinct timeline. And I have told this audience before that Dr. Martin has stated that he has 7 attorneys general, state attorneys general, that have said, bring us the head of Tony Fauci in terms of a criminal case, because we don't have the time or the resources or the ability to research it. Dr. Martin put this dossier together. If you want it, you can email me. I'll get it out to you as quick as I can. It's 200 pages, but the last 175 of them are a list of patents. Mostly the case is made in about 25 pages. And I'm spending some time on this to tell you that there is a businessman in Wisconsin that took it upon himself to have a professionally printed copy. I think he's in the printing business. Every single member of the Senate, at least, has gotten this. Every single member of the Senate, including Rand Paul. So I'm going to go into an interview. I'm going to play you a clip from Monday of this week, the 19th, Dr. David Martin expressing frustration with Rand Paul to Stu Peters. Let's play that clip right now, then we'll talk about
networks are very much so. And so when you look at somebody like Tucker Carlson, and he seems to be asking the right questions. Well, he's asking what he's allowed to, and I think that he's pushing the needle.
But he's not closing. You know, he reminds me in part of Rand Paul, when Rand Paul had Anthony Fauci in front of him.
Yep.
And the fact of the matter is, Anthony Fauci lied in Congress, which is a violation of the law, just to be clear. I mean, lying to Congress is, in fact, illegal. When he lied about the gain-of-function research at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Rand Paul has in his own public records, because I know, because I've actually published these public records and delivered them to Rand Paul's office, I know that he had the ability to deliver the knockout blow, because the knockout blow was, Dr. Fauci, you just said you didn't fund gain-of-function research, so why is it that the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill received a letter from NIH saying that there was a moratorium on the gain-of-function research that you just said you weren't funding? Because I have that letter. I have the letter UNC Chapel Hill got, and I know that it came from NIH and NIID. So how is it possible, Dr. Fauci, that you can actually tell me that you weren't funding gain-of-function research when your own letterhead says that you were? And why was it that Rand Paul did not deliver that knockout blow when he had Anthony Fauci witness in front of him capable of delivering that blow? My problem is that even the people who are allegedly pushing the needle are not delivering the punch.
Ooh. Let's get to the motivations of some.
Okay, I'm going to jump in right there. Now, Stu and Dr. Martin get into a conversation about motives. But, you know, Dr. Martin is saying, why didn't he close the deal? Why didn't he deliver the knockout punch? And then they discuss for a little bit. They both seem to agree that people really just want to raise money, because Dr. Martin went on to say, if you look at all of Rand Paul's social media posts, it's like you walk right up to the edge of the line of actually doing something, but we got to have help. We got to have help. We got to raise money. And I just want to tell a story that happened on Monday. Usually Tuesday comes after Monday. So it's yesterday morning. And I am watching that interview because, as amazing as that exchange was, Dr. Martin's information is, you know, maybe I'll put a link to that on the website if you haven't seen it. But here's the thing. I'm watching that exchange between Stu Peters and Dr. Martin, and at that point, it's less than 24 hours old. And I'll be honest with you, I'm getting mad. I'm getting mad right along with them. I'm getting mad at Rand Paul, and I'm thinking, how do I get in touch with Rand Paul? How can you call his office and say, what are you doing? What are you going to do? Why aren't you doing more? I felt the same way about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, so you sponsor this Fire Fauci Act. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? It's time to do something. And I didn't know that this hearing was going to happen yesterday. Breitbart beeps on my phone, and then I'm watching this. And so I'm watching Rand Paul, and I'm thinking, holy smokes, was he watching the Stu Peters show? Was he watching that exchange with Dr. Martin? Did did one of his constituents or somebody that's close to him, or maybe he was, I don't know, but it was pretty amazing. And then I want to show you another development, and here we go.
There's no need to change anything that you're doing on a day-by-day basis. Right now, the risk is still low.
It was just bad. It is bad.
Maybe that's the wrong one. Let's play.
You kicked off your questioning of Dr. Fauci, emphasizing federal law makes lying to Congress a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Is it your belief, based on the evidence, Senator, that he lied before Congress and broke the law?
Yes, and I will be sending a letter to the Department of Justice asking for a criminal referral because he has lied to Congress. We have scientists that will line up by the dozens to say that the research he was funding was gain of function. He's doing this because he has a self-interest to cover his tracks and to cover his connection to Wuhan lab. Now, does he deserve all of the blame? No, there's still some conjecture as to whether or not it came from the lab, but he's lying about whether or not he funded gain of function research, and yes, he should be punished.
Well, there you have it. And folks, listen, and I want to respond to David's comment. Nothing will happen to Fauci. Democrats won't allow it. I'll bet you. And David, I completely understand your sentiment. I mean, I completely do. The two-tier justice system that we have has just been evident for so long. I mean, Hillary Clinton, the Clinton crime family, just go on and on. Hunter Biden's laptop, the FOJO, the pretender in chief, the temporary health in chief, they should all be in jail. But I'm going to say this, and I don't know any other way to say it, because I have a conversation like this with my younger brother all the time. David, I completely agree with you. However, I believe that God, I believe that God is not going to be mocked in the same way that the lies about November are going to be turned around. Oh yeah, I completely 1,000% believe that. Have never doubted that. The lies about this are going to be turned around, and the lies about the cover-up of this are going to be turned around. Now, apart from intervention, I completely agree with you, but I absolutely believe. So I just go on record. I believe Tony Fauci is going to go to jail, and I don't believe he's the only one. And this is good evidence of it, folks. And I don't know what got into Rand Paul. I don't know if he was influenced by that exchange with Stu Peters and Dr. David Martin, but when you will appear on national television and you will announce that you are handing a letter of criminal referral to the Department of Justice, folks, now we've got a part to play. And I got to think this through for myself personally, but we can't just sit back and watch what happens with Rand Paul's efforts. There needs to be a national outcry. There needs to be a thunderous voice demanding accountability. But did you hear him say he's got doctors by the hundreds that will line up? Folks, what I'm saying to you is this is a very, very, very big deal. Now, I want to get into something to let me see if I can find this. I want to show you something from Fauci's emails if I can. And here we go. And I just want to set the stage here. This is from the 1st of February. And I want you to notice that this is the paper you sent me. This is from Fauci to Hugh Auchincloss. The paper you sent me says the experiments were performed before the gain of function pause. But they're reviewed and approved by NHH. Not sure what you mean, since Emily, now listen to this, Emily is sure that no coronavirus work has gone through the P3 framework. Now, if you don't remember, there was a pause in gain of function, and while they sorted things out and decided, how does this all work? How should it work? We're not sure. And this P3 group or entity or whatever process that would review research grant proposals and whatnot, and either make a determination that this is okay, this is not okay, this is gain of function, it's not gain of function. What he's saying is, according to Emily, nothing's gone through the P3 framework. And listen to this. She will try to determine if we have any distant ties to this work abroad. Now, there's a lot of takeaways we can get from that email. First of all, that was Saturday, February 1st. That's at least a month before any of the lockdown stuff started. It's before some people still hadn't even heard of this coronavirus, Wuhan virus. They weren't even, the label COVID-19 wasn't even out there. And he's talking about gain of function like, I don't know and I don't understand, but I'm going to have Emily look into it. Tony boy, you're the head honcho. You're the head honcho. All 4 feet 11 inches of you. You're the head honcho. You're the one that is supposed to know, Tony. And he's trying to keep this distance. Folks, he knows completely well what is going on. Now, I want to show you something else directly from the Fauci emails. I want to show you directly from the Fauci emails, and here we go. This is from Saturday the 1st of 2020, and I don't know who Bob is, but Tony Boy is emailing Bob, and he's saying, Bob, this just came out today, gives a balanced view. I'm going to say, why would you need a balanced view, Tony? Your job is not PR. Your job is science. And so what they're calling a balanced view, I'm just going to scroll through it, folks, because it takes a long time to read the article. But if you look, they've got, genome sequences and here's really tells you just about all you need to know. And it's about 5 pages in. Dashik and She's group have for 8 years been trapping bats in caves. And then right down here, it says, it's not just a curious interest to figure out what sparked the current outbreak, Daszak says. If we don't find the origin, now listen to this, if we don't find the origin, it could still be a raging infection at a farm somewhere. And once this outbreak dies out, there could be a continued spillover that's really hard to stop. Now, can I tell you what you just saw? You just saw in Tony Fauci's email train evidence of his complete, number one, he knows that people have questions about the origin and that a lot of people think it came from a lab. Number two, he's deflecting by reverting to this article. But what kind of article is it? It's a Peter Daszak fluff propaganda piece. And it ends with Peter Daszak talking about, if we don't find the animal origin, there may still be a farm out there that could still keep infecting us. Folks, it's all a bunch of BS. And he knows that it's a bunch of BS. And I want to show you one other thing. And how do I get back over here? Let's do this. I'm back over here. I want to show you this. This is from also Saturday the 1st. And all I just want to point out is this is from Fauci. There it is right there. And it's to Lawrence Tabak. I don't know who that is at NIH. But look at this. Attachments. Barrick, She, that's the bat lady, Nature Medicine, SARS gain of function PDF. And once again, it's just evidence that early on, early in 2020, they were talking about gain of function and they knew that people were onto them. So folks, the reason I go through all this is that when we come clear down to July of 2021, little Lord Fauci Roy has been attempting to hide for 18 months now. And so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to play this clip. I just want to show you I believe that this will illustrate just how reliable and how consistent Tony Fauci is. And hats off to Sean Hannity because his team put this together.
I think these numbers are so stunning.
If you're a healthy young person, that there is no reason, if you want to go on a cruise ship, to go on a cruise ship. It is not a good idea to travel, period, in the United States. People should not be walking around with masks. Well, if one mask is good, it makes common sense that maybe two masks are better. If you look at the evolution of the virus in bats and what's out there now, it's very, very strongly leaning towards this could not have been artificially or deliberately manipulated.
Are you still confident that it developed naturally?
No, I'm not convinced about that. I think that we should continue to investigate what went on in China.
Well, there you have it. I mean, I thought until I read in the Gateway Pundit that Rand Paul had appeared on Sean Hannity, I didn't know. And so I grabbed that from Sean Hannity because I haven't seen Hannity in a long time and I'm none the worse for it. I don't really, but you know, he did have a really, really, really good program last night. Now, folks, before this, I'm just kind of following my train of thought here, but I really want you to see this. I really want you to hear this. And this is from the hearing that was done. Oh my goodness. I got you. I can see what I'm seeing. Okay. I'm not going to be able to play that for you. Yeah. In StreamYard, if you don't convert a file to MP4, it won't play. But if you go back to that hearing, that Jim Jordan had on July 1st and that Tony Fauci that skipped, bailed, no-showed because he was hiding out in the Batcave peeing his pants. Once again, they talk about that this P3 framework that judges and makes evaluations and approves or disapproves grants and so forth relating to gain of function. Folks, it really looks like nobody really knows who's in control or what they're doing or how it works. So this has just been so incredibly it's so incredibly sloppy. And in previous programs, I have shown this audience how Peter Daszak describes this loose conglomeration of labs all over the world that he funds that he doesn't even directly oversee. He tries to have a presence in those labs. He tries to maybe have a grad assistant or he tries to have a technician. And so, but where does the money come from? The money comes from little Lord Fauci Roy, and he's been lying about it. He's been lying about it for a year and a half, and they got him dead to rights. And so, folks, all I can say is we have got to play our part. Everything that you can share about this, share it. We cannot let this die down. Because see, my first thought is, okay, he's going to make a criminal referral to the Department of Justice and nothing's going to happen. Well, something's got to happen. So do me a favor, in your spare time, please organize a march in Washington. Get 1 million people there. Just don't get roped into a January 6th false flag event. No, I'm being facetious here, but folks, listen. God's going to do this and he's going to use us. And so we have got to keep the pressure up. So however you can do that, share this video, share whatever, share. But folks, Tony Fauci is guilty. It's just the tip of the iceberg. He's guilty and he's gonna go to jail. How do I know so? Because I say so. I say that Fauci goes to jail. Would you say it with me? Say this: Fauci, you're going to jail. Say it again, please. Fauci, you're going to jail. Decree it. I decree that Fauci is going to jail, but not only Fauci, a whole lot more with him. So I'm just going to grab one comment. Okay. Louise said, I love your show. When this is all going to end, I'm like, now, Melvin. And then the comments blink and what. So folks, listen, I've spoken my time length today. I want you to please be encouraged. Pray for Rand Paul. One thing that people might want to remember is Rand Paul was attacked by a crazy leftist. I mean, he had broken ribs and damage to a lung. I can understand Dr. David Martin's frustration. I hope Dr. David Martin feels a little bit better about Rand Paul today. But I got to, at least for today, man, I got to say, Rand Paul, thank you. Who else did what he did? Who else has done that? Who else has called out Fauci face to face? Now we need to get some people standing with him. We need to get Ron Johnson standing with him. And so I'm just kind of going stream of consciousness here, folks, but we got to do our parts. And so with that, thank you so much for tuning in. Please share this video. Please leave a comment. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Please go to the website, get on our email list. We do not abuse it. We use it when we think it's important. If you are able to support us in any amount with our PayPal on ohioforfreedom.com, it is greatly and greatly needed and appreciated at this time. And until next time, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the state of Ohio, which is standing up for the great United States of America, which is standing up for the rest of the free world.
I hear the sweet sound of freedom, and I won't be long.